Brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Rough start offensively. Our defense was awesome. Talked about that's something we hang our hat on. Holding them to 5 in the first quarter, 9.5. Offensively we had looks. We just didn't knock them down.
They're a really good team, and if you let somebody that's that good already get confident and get stuff going, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Over the year, I've seen that we've been really coachable, and like Coach always tells us, you can't build Rome in a day, so we've been trying to put in a lot of new offenses and learn new things, and I think we've been really good at receiving what she's told us.
It's a little nerve-wracking, especially because it's at the end and nobody would end, but we're all really excited, and we have a good chance.
For West Virginia, they're a team that can beat anybody in our conference, at any place, home or on the road, because they're so talented. Josh just hadn't had his whole team together. We saw a tale of two halves with them.
They're going to shoot a lot of threes, 34 or 35 attempts a game. It's actually a good style of play. You got 5 guys with their starters that can all shoot threes, and then you got 4 guys always in the game that can shoot threes.
A new sweeper, new cutter, new changeup. Just give hitters different look. It's important to be able to come up with new stuff, give hitters different looks, especially guys you've been facing for 10 plus years. It's always nice to have a new weapon.
I mean, what has to happen? You're going to see somebody carried off on a stretcher? Whether it's a participant or a fan. There's no other opinion. It needs to be banned.
I understand the impulse. You won a game that you never thought you were going to win. I was told this morning.
I've done that.
I was told this morning that Purdue over the last few years has been court stormed 10 different times.
Yes.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in. It is the Tuesday show, a very busy sports week. Steve Webster with you today. Aaron Clark is in, and Mike Hesher. Mike Corson is on assignment, eating a school-prepared meal at the noon Board of Education meeting. We'll get an update when he comes back in here in a little while, because he is still part of the show today. Very busy show. We will be talking with former Barton baseball player Chris Humphreys. He'll talk about the honor he recently received for his baseball career at Central Missouri State University. I don't know, they call it it's a Diamond Club. It's not the Mule Hall of Fame, but we will get that down. Very good baseball player. And, of course, the director of the Great Bend Recreation Commission. Mike Corson goes on the prowl with Great Bend Wrestling coach Gannon Reichert. He'll wrap up the wrestling season for the Panther boys and girls. We'll talk to the voice of the Cougars. He's the number 1 ranked announcer in NJCAA. Or he announces for the number 1 team.
No, you had it right the first time.
I don't know. Boyd Hopkins for Eastern Slippery Rock's pretty good. Anyway, Barton's number 1 in the country. Also, Great Bend Tribune sports editor Jim Mizuno. So, yeah, we're cramming 4 in here today. So let's get started with our sounds the past 24 hours or so. Head coach Kyle Haxton, after his team beat Russell last night 52-21 in the 3A sub-state. And Cardinals didn't shoot it very good, but, man, that defense, no points in the fourth quarter. So Hoisted now 12-9. They'll face off with 15-6 Haven coming up on Thursday night. Mike Hesher had the call on 100.7 Eagle Country. And what'd you think last night, Hesh?
Defense. And for the game, we have Russell shooting unofficial totals 7 out of 44 for 16%. And from beyond the arc, they were 2 out of 19 for 11%. So was that good defense, or was that a combination of good defense and poor shooting?
Let's see. They'll take on Haven. What's Haven going to do you think? Let's see. Lonnie Paramore. He might try the 1-3-1.
Well, they don't run it very often, but it's something he might try, yeah.
I don't know. You think they're going to be very familiar with it, though? I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I've always joked that young men know the 1-3-1 coming out of the birth canal.
Well, I don't know. That's be a pretty good test right there, but I don't know. The Paramore home, their kitchen table was shaped like a 1-3-1. Yeah, that's going to be a tough test. Kyle Haxton's going to be on Sports Day tomorrow. We'll get more on that preview. Larned boys' season ended. They had to take on the number 1 seed, Ellsworth, last night. I guess the results predictable. Luke Steinlogge on that game. The Indians season comes to an end. Ellsworth 61, Larned 20. Ellsworth got out to a quick lead, and it was over pretty early. Other games in the 3A sub-state last night, Lions beat Kingman 52-41, so it'll be Ellsworth and Lions in the semifinals, and then Haven and Hoisington. Okay, other sub-state action last night. The Ellenwood Eagles, the girls, their season's over with. They lost at Meade last night, 63-39. The 3A girls sub-state gets underway tonight at Hoisington, and it will be Lions playing at Haven tonight. Haven 13-7. They are the number one seed in this tournament. Russell is at Larned tonight. So the Lady Indians with a home game. Russell 7-13, Larned 8-12. Ellsworth, they're at home tonight. They'll take on Nickerson, and the Hoisington Lady Cardinals 13-7 taking on Kingman. They are 4-16. Lady Cardinals on the show yesterday, including senior Kylie Hahn, talking about the progress they made throughout the season with a new head coach, with Coach Luters. Jordan Boxberger, her feelings going in, yeah, they've got a good shot, maybe the best possibility or the best shot Hoisington's had on the girls' side in many, many years. And that game will be tonight on 100.7 Eagle Country. Mike Hesher with the call once again. So the Lady Cardinals, Hesh, are 13-7. They started the year 6-0. So according to my calculations, they are 6-7 since that time, or 7-7 since that time.
That would be correct, but I also would say that is the toughness of the Central Kansas League.
I would have to concur on that. So,
and you would hope that would make them tougher going into sub-state play, playing that tough schedule.
Okay, what will Gene Manweiler tell us tonight on the pregame show about Kingman? Or are you just waiting to see what he says so you can
I'm not sure we know anything about Kingman at this point. I'm not even sure of their record. I'm getting two different conflicting tales on their record.
I've got them 4-16.
I've seen 4-16 or 3-17. So
what's it say on the bracket?
It says 4-16, so that's what I'm going with.
Well, you got to go with the bracket.
Right, I agree.
Where's your other source?
Max Preps, which is not real reliable. Well, some of them have ties. You're going, okay, whatever. Well, see, now they beat Trinity Catholic out of Hutchinson twice, and Max Preps only has them beating them once, I think it was.
Well, maybe. Okay. All right. So you'll have that game tonight, and that's the latest. It'll be 6:45 tonight, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same time as last night. Okay. 6:45 on 100.7 Eagle Country. Ellenwood boys also tonight in sub-state action. The 12-8 Eagles play at Medicine Lodge. Medicine Lodge 16-4. And, of course, right here in Great Bend, Bishop Carroll 7-13 to take on the Panthers, who are the host of this 5A sub-state. Panthers 15-5. The other game tonight in Hutchinson in the semifinal matchup. Goddard Eisenhower 8-12 against 14-6 Hutchinson. I'm kind of along with Corson here. Yeah, Bishop Carroll. They're 7-13. City League's pretty good. Hopefully the boys are not looking forward to taking on Hutchinson in the championship game. Bishop Carroll presents always a dangerous challenge.
Gotta keep your head on a swivel. They've got a couple of seniors. I believe it's Michael Brand has done a bulk of their scoring for him this year. He's averaging 17 points a game. Another cat for him, though, I think it's Braxton Miller. It's number 14. He kind of does a little bit of a do-it-all player for him. Scores about 4 points a game, but he pulls down 7 rebounds and deals out 4 assists. Also comes away with a steal, but pretty senior-heavy team. Yesterday, you were kind of asking how they stack up roster-wise against Great Bend. Similarly constructed in terms of years with 4 seniors on both sides. I think Bishop Carroll has 3 juniors compared to Great Bend's 2. But then the sophomores is where it gets a little different. Bishop Carroll is getting a little bit of your more traditional contributions from sophomores. They've got 2 cats averaging about 6 points a game. One of them steals out 2 assists. One of them grabs 2 boards. While the Panther sophomores play a little bit more of an outsized role in their performance.
Okay, that is an early start tonight. They will tip at 6 at the field house, so pregame at 5:45. I always said postseason I'd leak it a little bit more. It'd probably, it'd take a little bit more time. I do go like 5:40, but you've got the laptop. You can start anytime you want. So Aaron Clark will have the call tonight on B1043 to point. Other sounds the past 24 hours. Jerome Tang. What a game this was. K-State led by 25 points. then let the lead slip away, and then came back. And what do they do in overtime? They always win overtime games, and they were able to pull it out against West Virginia last night, 94-90.
Once is a coincidence. Twice, that's just, it happens. 12-0 Jerome Tang is in overtime games since taking over for K-State. 7-0 this year. I don't know what it is once his team gets to that extra period. I don't know if K-State just has the best offseason conditioning program in the country, so they get to that extra period and they've got a little more in the reserves. But Tang just can't lose once you get to overtime. It's kind of an impressive feat that now you head into that extra period and there's a decent reason for Cats fans to believe, we've got this one in the bag. Like, we can feel good about it.
That's amazing. What if he was 0-12?
They
may be thinking, who are we going to bring in next?
The legacy would be a lot different.
Okay, Cats will be in action Saturday. They'll travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bearcats. Bill Self on taking on BYU tonight. 34-35 threes a game. That sounds like an NBA team. Jack it up, go get it, see if you get the rebound, and go score again. Bill Self and the Jayhawks taking on BYU tonight. We'll have it for you here on KVGB since the Larned girls will be on Hits 106.9. So we'll have that 6:30 here on KVGB. Houston still leading the Big 12 10-3, Iowa State 9-4, Kansas, Baylor, Texas Tech, all are 8-5. That was a good win for K-State last night, but still 5-8 in league play. Okay, Seth Lugo, he made the start yesterday through 2 innings, 27 pitches, 16 for strikes, allowed a hit and a walk. Says he's coming out with new pitches this year. He's got a sweeper, a cutter. We'll have to ask Chris Humphreys.
I was going to say, wouldn't have been doing as well if he had to face this guy at the plate yesterday.
I don't know. I saw pictures of him, man. He's pretty impressive. Okay, and then Michael Wilbon, Tony Kornheiser on PTI yesterday. Duke coach John Shire wants the ACC to implement measures to prevent court storming after Kyle Filipowski hobbled following a collision with a fan over the weekend in a loss to Wake Forest.
I saw that's a sentiment that Bill Self echoed as well. He doesn't exactly know how they'll be able to do it, but it's getting a little ridiculous when we've had as many court stormings. He made the case where there's a stretch where KU was going on the road, and it seemed like every time they lost on the road, they were getting court stormed. And so it does kind of, when you're a high-ranking team who has that kind of reputation of being a powerhouse like a KU or a Purdue or someone, it kind of may risk a little more. Those coaches might want to limit it a little more.
You don't get the – yeah, but, okay, you can get security. Well, hire somebody because it's not going to be, like I said, those kids in the
they got all that money for the new
step up there.
They got all that money for the new facility. They can afford to shell out for some security there too.
Well, I guess that's name, image, and likeness.
Oh, imagine getting the security guards into the new video games.
That'd be perfect. Okay, so yeah, a lot of controversy on this. It's interesting that it gets ramped up when a player from Duke or Caitlin Clark gets bumped into, and then whoa. We got to do something about it now.
We just got to start letting the players fight back. Let them have a little free range.
Oh, no, that's dangerous. Okay, we've got a loaded show today. We're going to get right with it. Chris Humphreys. I've got so many questions to ask this guy because that story Corson wrote is like, really? You need to brag more, Chris. We'll have more Sports Day coming up right after this.
Join Barton Community College in the eccentric adventure Caractacus Pots for an unforgettable adventure filled with flying cars, family fun, and laughter. Barton Theater presents Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Experience the magic of this timeless musical brought to life on stage, with multiple showings starting February 29th and running through March 3rd. Bring the whole family and let your imagination soar. For more information, visit shows.bartonccc.edu.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows that A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy in Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And brought to you in part today by Equity Bank. Locations in the area, Great Bend, Larned, Maxville, and St. John. You can visit them at equitybank.com. And Next Tech Wireless, experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansas. Okay, earlier this year, Tim Freese was in on the program, and all I got after he was on Sports Day was, wow, I didn't know Tim Freese did that. Yeah, he was a big stud at University of Kansas. Yeah. So when I had a story pop up on GreatBendPost.com that Mike Corson wrote, Chris Humphreys?
Back in the day?
What a career. Congratulations. You are going into the Mules Baseball Diamond Club. The version of Central Missouri State's Hall of Fame in March. Congratulations. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, how'd you find out?
The coach called and told me. Then I started looking at dates, and it's right in the middle of our spring high school season, so I'm going to have to miss one of our high school games that day, which kind of bittersweet. Hate missing that stuff.
Well, I was going to say, but yeah, the only thing is probably, you can't have that entire family crew there maybe with you, but
I'll have to leave Carson behind this one.
Well, tell me about this baseball career. I mean, obviously a lot of success at Barton Community College. Just take it back then. I mean, before you came to Barton. I mean, when did you start thinking, okay, I kind of like baseball?
Well, I knew I wanted to go junior college coming out of Colorado. Not a lot of baseball out in Colorado. A lot of the high school kids back in the day liked the Jayhawk League. So that's why, I toured, I think 8 different schools in Kansas and just kind of fell in love with you remember Steve Johnson. He's the one that recruited me to Barton. So,
yeah.
And I still talk to him quite a bit. He's up in Hayes still. And his boy's the same age as mine, so we see each other all the time.
So he was your initial recruiting contact?
Yep.
And then why Barton?
Just liked it. The facilities right then with Kirkman was kind of newer right then. And just the indoor facility there and the setup. It was nice.
Beat Roger Ward's record.
He reminds me all the time. Yeah. And actually what was kind of cool about that was he was coaching then. So he was my coach at Barton at that time.
Was he over there kind of elbowing Warren to tell, take you out of the lineup there late in the season, He needs some rest right now. We need to rest him.
No, for sure not.
Okay. And then at that time, so that would have been what, 2000?
That was 99, 2000.
Okay, so Fort Hays State's just coming off a trip to the World Series championship game, but they're going through a little transition at the time with Bob Fernelli and, of course, Emporia State. So, I mean, did that kind of open the door for you to start looking at Central Missouri?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was actually at the sophomore showcase. So the Jayhawk League has that sophomore showcase where all the kids go there. And that's after that, I started getting some calls. And I had some other schools, but Central, I like the tradition of them going to the World Series. Then they ultimately gave me the most money, too, so that helped.
Yeah, that always does. So your experience at Central Missouri State, you not only played there, but ended up coaching there a little bit?
Yep, got my undergrad there, then left, went to Barton and coached there, then went back to Central to get my master's, so all that was paid through graduate assistant.
So you've used sports as a way to fill out your other life now.
For sure. It was a huge part of my life. I enjoyed it.
Central Missouri State, how many years did you go to the World Series?
2 as a player and 2 as a coach.
Really? What do you think of Patterson Field down at Montgomery?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
The kazoo wall.
The rock wall out there. Who's buried out in the cemetery? I can't. I was some country music guy, but
yeah. If you told me, I would. Is it Hank Williams? Is he?
Yes. Yeah, right out there. Yeah, on the side of the hill.
You can go out and see it.
How cool is that to be in a World Series? And how did your teams do?
Yeah. So my junior year we took 2nd, and then senior year there we took 5th, and then when I was coaching we took 3rd and 5th. Pretty neat. You have to win a regional, and then the top 8 teams get to go.
Isn't that a great it's like 2 weeks. You play a game and then you're off a day. You know,
It was awesome.
Yeah.
There was a host family there that would take you in, and you get to go hang out at their facility, and it's just neat, just the whole process of seeing all that.
So baseball has been very dear to your heart for a long time, and you come back with Mike Minton and you start the Bombers here in Great Bend. That's been going on now for how long? 10 years now?
This is the 10th season. Yep. So we started that with the 8 and under, 30-plus kids, broke that into 3 equal teams, and then after that we had a true 9, and then kept half of those back on the true 8. So from then on we kind of kept one age group going each year.
So do you get to make a speech at this event, or?
Not sure. I assume so. Not very good at that, but I'll knock one out if I have to. You know, it's kind of funny. We learned about that Chat GPT in a rec conference. You know, so maybe I get up there with my phone and just have them write me something real quick.
Yeah, it's somebody else's voice. You know, just
yeah, exactly.
move your lips while you're doing that. So this is really cool. Like I said, I had no idea that you were that good a baseball player. Is that kind of the way some other people are? They're, holy man, you.
Yeah, when they have found out about it. I don't like to talk a whole lot about it just because my time's over. I mean, to me, that's the good old days. I remember it. But, you know, when you have kids and you have the Bombers and all that, you kind of get to relive some of that and put the knowledge into those teams. I'm pretty fortunate the team that we had was the first year of Bombers, and we've got to kind of use them as guinea pigs throughout to make, you know, pros and cons of the teams coming up after them. But what I like is 9 of those first 11 kids all want to play college baseball, and I think that's awesome. I mean, that's what I want to see.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. I understand why you didn't become a Tiger, because Fernelli was going to become a Hornet.
Well, and Garrett was there.
Yeah.
You know, Garrett Fitzpatrick with the Rec, that was kind of where he played, so you hate to follow those stomping grounds.
Well, you probably could have pitched, man, and then you just broke his records. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks a lot. Congratulations. It's really cool. Diamond Club, that will be taking place March 23rd in Warrensburg. So,
yep, looking forward to it.
Cool deal. Thanks for coming in, Chris.
Yep.
Hey, another Hall of Famer in studio here in Chris Humphreys. We'll take a break. Cole Rife's going to talk about the #1 ranked Barton Cougars. That's next on Sports Day.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Rife, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Rife on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Day on KVGB. Show brought to you by Eller Automotive Repair. Local mechanic that can help you on Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, and the Great Bend Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, your certified Cenex lubricant dealer in Great Bend. Joining us now, the voice of the #1 ranked Barton Cougars, Cole Rife.
Hey, that sounds good. I like that. We should do that every year.
Well, Hesher told me yesterday it doesn't mean nothing. I couldn't get him excited about it yesterday.
No, I get it. I mean, some polls are polls, right? They don't win you games. They don't win you, conference championship. Cool. It's still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it came official yesterday, that was my first reaction. Like, this is cool. Now, it's one of those things, like, I'm kind of superstitious, so I didn't want to, like, overhype it and, like, okay, hey, I'm going to talk a bunch about it and, praise them. And then, then they got a game coming up tomorrow night at Dodge. Then you have Hutchinson coming up Saturday and Colby. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I don't know. I don't like to overly praise it, but at the same time, I think it deserves to be celebrated because it doesn't happen often.
No.
I mean, it's 20-plus years since the last time they've done it, and it's just a cool accomplishment. I think, what polls do, they're fun for the fans, they're fun for media, but I think the teams enjoy it as well when you look at who you're going to play. Okay, let's go knock off this ranked team. But, I think it serves as a good recognition for the success that you're having currently. So I think it's a lot of fun. You need to enjoy it, but then you got to get back to business coming up on Wednesday night.
It's been a while since the Cougars have won a Jayhawk title.
Yeah, 2009. So, yeah, I mean, that's big. So if they can get one win out of these next three, they get at least a share. And then 2 wins out of these next three, they would get it outright. And that's, on their own. If, Hutchinson or Cali ended up stumbling, then that would also assist them.
Okay, Saturday, Garden City. And you said it several times during the broadcast, a team that Barton doesn't match up very well with. I mean, they're big, and then but they found a way. They found a way.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like that Caulfield game. Caulfield hit, 13, 14 threes, whatever it was. So, they found a way. Garden City was one of those teams that when we left in mid-January, I was like, man, that team's fun. Like, that team's a lot of fun. I mean, they got 4 Division I transfers, and that doesn't mean everything, but Brody Robinson is a fun guy to watch. He's just so fast, and he sets up the team. I mean, it's just like Speedy Gonzalez running around the floor, and like trying to keep up with him, and that makes it challenging. Braxton Jones, at the moment, hasn't done anything for Barton. Well, knock on wood there, but he's a big time scorer, obviously capable of filling up the stat sheet. But then I think what's nice, that's where it starts. 2 guys averaging 20, but then like Thomas Toot, 6'10", can put it on the floor a little bit. Tough guy, eventually fouled out. That helped out at the last couple of minutes. Charles Chukwu is just a man. Can't shoot overly well, but man, that's probably one of the most solid guys in the Jayhawk conference. So that's a tough matchup. And then, Jordan Frazier, I thought was a pretty good guy too as their 5th guy. So yeah, I mean, that's just a tough matchup. I mean, you look at some of the games, I know Coach Combs mentioned, Cloud County is one of those teams that's kind of like, that's a tough matchup. Obviously Butler and Cali and Hutchinson are really good, but something about those 2 matchups with Cloud and Garden City, it's game on.
There was a lot on the line Saturday because by then, of course, we knew South Plains had lost. Mm-hmm. Players, okay, if we can win this, we're going to be number 1. They hadn't really been challenged in the last month, it hasn't seemed like. And then they were. That's always that time when you get that, okay, do they get tight or do they get tough? How'd they do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was tight there for a while, but they never let them separate much. Like, even though, I mean, you look back at that outing, and I wasn't, Barton shot 38% from the floor, and that's not their worst shooting percentage, but it's one of their worst shooting percentages. I mean, there are a lot of things that weren't going overly great in that game. And then, Garden City kept hitting shots, but Barton never let them separate by much. And then even what was disappointing, I think, for me is because they hit about the midway mark of the second half, and Barton was up by 7. I was like, here we go.
I like that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Here's cruise control, right? Here's where you just take over and you casually go into another win. And that wasn't the case, and give credit to Garden City coming in. But, I thought, Drake Kendall hit a huge 3 to put Barton up by 1 in the final 2 minutes. And then, obviously the Mose, drive at the end of the ball game. But, man, that 3 by Brody Robinson from beyond midcourt, there's something about that release. I was like, it felt like it might go in. And I mean, it hit the backboard, hit the rim, but it was kind of off to the side just a little bit. But, probably an inch or so over to the left, and that might bank in. I don't know if it'd be too strong, but it was close. It was close.
Jeremy Combs talked about that last play, on the post-game show. Said, well, you know who they're going to get the ball into their hands when the game's on the line, right?
Yeah, I mean, Moses, he hit that big, game winner against Dodge City last year at home, and, it has that capability, but he has that ability to just get into the lane. So, start it from there, but, it was not necessarily a passing moment for him. So, I mean, because Combs said, make sure you get all the way to the basket.
Like, make sure I don't want a jump shot. I want you to go finish, strong to the rim. So he got as close as he can, but then he ran into the Chukwu guy. he leveled him, man. I mean, there's contact. I mean, I don't know if you're going to call that. If he would have missed that shot, I would have found it interesting if there's going to be a whistle or not. It doesn't seem like there would have been, but he fell down. I think he started his little runner from about midway through the lane, and then he fell backwards, and he was like outside the arc. So he ran into a brick wall once he got into there, but he finished.
Okay. Tomorrow night, you go to Dodge, team that Barton beat twice last year, and they won the regular season championship. Won it out there when they celebrated. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not having the Cinderella season they had a year ago. So what about this year's edition of Dodge City? 7-15 in league, 9-19 overall right now.
Yeah, just struggles. I mean, they've lost 6 straight games. Like you mentioned, 9-19. I mean, they've had 3 really good years. And so, I mean, the last losing record they had was that 19-20 season before Jake Williams took over. But yeah, it's just a team that hasn't, I don't think, found their identity. They've struggled to defend. They've scored the ball fairly well, but, defensively they're giving up 84 points per game. I mean, Ice Emery's a talented kid. I mean, he's averaging 17 a game, but it just hasn't collectively all come together. But, obviously for Barton, you go into that matchup, you got an even bigger bullseye. But then also, this is a Dodge City team that came into Great Bend in January, and they were up by 1 or 2 midway through the second half, or maybe it was like 11 or 12 minutes ago. So, they kind of took the punches of Barton in that game in Great Bend. Now, after that final 10 minutes, Barton, destroyed them. I think Barton won by 20, 95-75. But, there's plenty of things to catch your attention. And, obviously this is going to be an opportunity for, kind of Dodge's Super Bowl. So you got to be careful in those types of situations.
Since I've been back 2009, I don't remember a regular season game that's getting as much pre-sizz as Hutch is on Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't want to look past Dodge. I agree.
I don't know what it's going to be like Saturday, but I think that you might want to get there early. Maybe.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know, like if there's area high school basketball if they're playing on that evening. Yeah. That could hurt the crowd a little bit. I don't know what KU and K-State are doing on Saturday if they play or not. I haven't checked any of those types of schedules. So you hope it's a really good crowd. It's pink out nights. I saw Corson's got his shirt already. So hopefully it's a really good crowd. And this is you only got 2 more opportunities to see Barton. So it's Saturday at home, and then they'll host one of those. The men for sure will get a bye and host a quarterfinal matchup the following Tuesday, but then, the women will be hosting at least one game too. So, yeah, there's not very many opportunities.
2 number 1 teams on the court on Saturday night.
Crazy, right?
Hutch.
These next 3 games will be big. I really feel like that, because not only because you're chasing a conference championship, but, okay, now you got that number 1 title. When you're climbing, it's fun, like bringing people down from the mountain, and you're chasing. I keep looking at the summit.
Now
you're on the summit, and like there's nobody. Everybody's chasing you right now, and all the eyes across. I mean, whatever junior college fanatics are out there across the country, they're on you. So I mean, I think it's a lot easier when you always have that chip on your shoulder and you're going. So I think these next 3 games are really big, because I just want to see that hunger still. Like we talked about the edge on last week's show. Like, how much edge do you have now that you're number 1 and, you're starting to get in that conversation of the national tournament and whatnot, and you still have, a couple weeks left before that even starts up. So, yeah, I want to see these next 3 games, win or lose. I just want to see that edge being pretty sharp.
That was the last poll, right?
That's the last poll. So
they're number 1 as long as they keep playing.
They could lose these next 3 and they'll still be number 1. I thought that hurt Barton last year, because the final poll came out early, and then they went on and beat Dodge City like a drum at their place, and then they turned around and beat somebody else, and then they had a big quarterfinal win against Hutchinson, and then they knocked off Coffeyville in the semifinals, and they didn't move up any. Now people will say, well, the poll doesn't matter when the selection committee comes around, but I thought that hurt, because otherwise, you probably would have had Barton closer to Dodge in the rankings last year, maybe even past him. But that's bridge or water under bridge. But so this year it can't hurt them, right? I mean, they could lose these next 3, and then you're still number 1. You're like, well, how do you leave the number 1 team out of the national tournament? You can't, right? You couldn't do that, right? You couldn't do that. Well, let's just hope they take care of business.
Well, I would. Yeah, that was
if the selection game, if Barton lost these next
I don't even
four,
think Hesh could come up with a more doomsday scenario than that.
Yeah. But you couldn't leave the number one team in the country out of the national tournament.
Hutchin.
Lose 3 straight and an injury.
No,
See, I can come up with something.
Oh, yeah, get out of here. We don't want to hear that.
Dr. Do. Okay, this Hutch team, and kudos to Callie and Hutch. They've had tremendous years, man. I mean, Callie's 19-3, Hutch is 18-3. So this Hutch team, they're ranked 15th. How are they playing right now?
They're playing good. I mean, they had that, they stumbled to Butler. Butler went into the place. They've actually played better on the road than they have at the sports arena this year. I think 3 of their 4 losses have come at home. Their only other loss, it was a neutral floor site, but it was in Great Bend. So that's good because they lost in early November to Tonkawa. So that's their only other outside of losing at home. So, they're playing well. I mean, Cam Thomas is, got to be one of the top 5 players in the league, just steady. Tommy DeSalm does a phenomenal job, and he's really adapted that team. I think this year he hasn't forced that style as much, and it's kind of worked out, to their benefit. So, yeah, they're playing really, really good ball, and obviously, man, you got a chance to come into Great Bend, play your rival, and now they're number 1 in the country. So, I mean, that just kind of builds that excitement.
Okay. What do you think about court storming?
Here's the thing. I think, Kyle Filipowski, I thought was kind of soft in his comments, and he's bitter. And I love Kyle. He's a Duke guy, but, I think he's soft in general. Hopefully he's okay. The only thing I would say, wait until they get off the court. Wake Forest was on the floor with .7 on the clock still. There are guys already coming from that baseline. Can we give them at least 5? Can the few security guards you have fend them off for 5 to 10 seconds after the buzzer, the final sounds, and then let them do their thing? Storming needs to stay in college, and storming the field. And if you want to tear down goalposts in football, whatever. But in basketball, it needs to stay. I like it, but just give us time. Give the players time and the coaching staff to at least get to the sideline.
Maybe Self and Shire, these coaches, Purdue now, should have a conference at the end of the day. Okay, these are the things you need to do. This is how you get off the floor. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard Coach Self say, maybe take a timeout in that situation. But that was, Duke was down by 4, so you're not going to take your starters off out of the game. And they had the ball. I mean, it would be a miracle to win it, but you're going to be out on the floor. So in that situation, if you were down by 10 or so, you could take a timeout, get those guys out of there. But, I just think there has to be some type of precaution just to keep them off for 5 seconds after the buzzer. And if you're a player, that's got to be in your head, okay, hey, I got 5 seconds to get to the sideline before mayhem starts. And then from there on, whatever happens to fans, happens to fans.
Heard an interesting take on KU's win over Texas the other day. So late in the game, KU's up, I believe, by 19 points. So why is it starters? I know KU doesn't have much depth, but coach leaves them out there because, the line is 18. The line's 18.5.
Well,
they ended up winning by 19. I don't know.
I mean, Wake Forest was a favorite in that game. I think the line was about 3. And they won by 4. You don't think Bill Self and all those Shire and those guys?
Know what the line
exactly.
Is.
I bet they get their pockets stacked.
Hey, not their pocket. It's you've got to get these boosters. You've got to make sure that they've got the money to help support re-sign Hunter Dickinson next year. So why don't you throw them a bone when you've got a chance that they got? Yeah, I thought that was.
You don't think Bill Self's just trying to put his foot down on the Big 12 right now, though?
I don't know.
Guy's got power.
Yeah, don't take those guys out. You're only 18.5 is the line you got to cover. Thanks, Cole.
Appreciate it.
Okay, let's see. Coming up, we're going to Mike Corson's got Tech Wrestling. We'll wrap the show up today talking with Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mizunas, all here on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
We get it. Life is busy. It's a constant rush from work to home to sports practice and still trying to have quality time with your family. The latest technology from Nextech Wireless can help keep you connected and organized. Right now, when you get a new phone, you can get an Apple Watch or tablet on us. Stop by a store near you and visit with one of our wireless experts today. Nextech Wireless. Home on the range.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined today by Great Bend Wrestling coach Gannon Reichert. Coach, we had in Daisy Gomez yesterday, obviously state champion, big deal, but heard from her. What were your thoughts on having a state champion this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's kind of the goal for everyone, but especially Daisy with her being her senior year and coming up short last year. And just, I mean, that was just amazing for her to get that this year. You know, just very proud of her and very happy for her.
We'll jump over to the boys' side. They were at Park City. Went in with 10 wrestlers, had a really strong regional showing. Personally, I kind of thought maybe Great Bend would go top 3, top 2. 6th place overall. Pretty pleased with what the boys were able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt the same way. We were kind of gunning for that top 1, 2 spot there. We obviously came up short, but overall, I think we had a strong finish with our wrestlers, just not quite the finish we were hoping for.
And I think part of that is a ton of third-place finishes in a brutal super regional in Arc City. So they get the easy-ish first round, but then that second round is kind of where everybody fell, where I think most of them were going up against regional champions.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, we definitely had that tough round there, and I mean, we fell the backside. I know it took a kind of maybe a mental hit on some of our wrestlers, especially our seniors who were gunning for that championship their senior year. But I think we rallied pretty strong on it and came back.
So the big one for the boys' side was Cooper Lyles makes the finals at 150. Really tough draw against a Goodwin kid that's a wrestling family out of Goddard, so he's able to pin Cooper in the finals. But Cooper's a senior, picked up his 100th win this year. How big for him to at least get to that stage?
Oh, yeah. It's a very strong finish for Cooper. Obviously, you know, you want the championship. But state runner-up for Cooper was, I think, higher than he was expecting. You know, I was talking to his dad at the tournament, and I think that's the highest his boys have placed at state yet. So I think, you know, overall still a great finish.
And the other one really had the potential, Jay Sharts, but he gets that rematch against Cade Smith, who he beat at regionals. That one went to overtime. Semifinals go to overtime, but Jace comes up short in that one.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, those kids, they go back and forth, pretty even match wrestlers. Unfortunately, didn't fall our way in that semifinal, but, you know, Jay's strong competitor came back and got third.
We're talking to Panther Wrestling coach Gannon Reichert. How about some of the other kids? I know we've talked about them all year. They've been ranked. Trenton Kern's 6th place at 190. Anything that led to him having to move through the backside of that bracket?
Yeah, I know he kind of hurt his knee in one of his matches. That probably could have maybe finished a little bit stronger than what he did. As you can kind of, I mean, his last match there, he had that injury default out of, and his knee was hurting from the previous one. So, I mean, yeah, he had a strong finish and a strong showing at the tournament still.
And Caden Hoffman was another kid, maybe potential to reach into the finals, get stuck on the back side for a 6th place finish.
Yeah, tough kid, Caden. He just didn't quite go the way he wanted probably on it. And I mean, that's just the sport of wrestling too. But he's still a strong kid, strong wrestler, and at least he got a top 6 finishing.
Yeah, and your other state medalist was at 120, Tristan Tomlinson, just a sophomore, so tough showing at state, but he gets a medal and gets to come back next year.
I think that was a pretty strong showing for Tristan at 120. I think he was dressing up from last year a little bit heavier weight class for him, and kind of struggled a little bit more than he did last year, I believe. So finishing 6th and getting that placing, probably not where he was as high as he was wanting, but I was pretty satisfied with it.
So we'll jump over to the girls' side. You had 3 medalists at Park City in the class 6 to 5A. Obviously, Daisy, the state champion, but 2 girls, Kaylee McMullen, just a sophomore, she places at 125.
Yeah, so Kaylee's qualified last year, didn't quite place, so to get that placing this year, I think was a pretty good goal for her to achieve. And likewise with Camden Post as a freshman coming in and being able to place as a freshman, and strong finishes by both of them.
And what's tough about those lightweights is usually they are the underclassmen, but a couple freshmen in there, few freshmen of the 3 top 6, but the state champ was a senior. How fun for Camden to get to come back and see where she fits in next year.
Camden's been wrestling a while. She's a very experienced girl, and I foresee a lot of state placings and hopefully a championship in her career.
Talking to Panther wrestling coach Gannon Reichert, 2 that stand out that I was watching, Natalie Daniels had been ranked as high as number 2, didn't medal, and then Kira Stevens had some potential at 170, didn't get a medal. Anything that you saw from them that prevented that?
I mean, both, like you say, very strong competitors, strong wrestlers. A big thing going into that state tournament, if you haven't been before, there's, you kind of get some mojo against you going there if you've never been in, and it's just, tougher environment you might not be used to, and I think that kind of had effect on their results.
Coach, you obviously some wrestling experience, but first year at Great Bend, just some final thoughts on a successful season.
It was quite the year, a lot going on. Like I said, quite the difference from 3-2-1A, but yeah, good year.
We've enjoyed having you on all season, and we will talk to you next year.
All right, thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
Want to graduate a little sooner? Take online courses with Barton Online and transfer seamlessly to your university of choice without all the hassle. We have 6-week and 8-week sessions starting in February and March. Save tons of time and money and get ahead by taking courses at Barton and transferring your credits. Now enrolling for both sessions. Get started at online.bartoncccc.edu.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
He's covered more big games than anyone else in the Golden Belt. He might be on your sideline, in your gym, or just about anywhere there's a game. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mazunas.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Show brought to you in part today by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend, by Equity Bank, we're right here beside you, equitybank.com, and by the Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor shop local when you can. Okay, we're trying to hook up with Jim Mazunas here. He's been kind of bumped around a little bit with our crammed schedule here. So hopefully Jim's going to call in here momentarily. We can talk to Jim about what's going on here in this busy sports week. Again, sub-state action tonight. Mike Hesher will be on the call in Hoisington tonight as the Hoisington girls, they open play. They get first-round game tonight against Kingman. Hesh, I said, they get off that such a good start, but then they get into the CKL, obviously a very tough girls basketball league. How were they playing at the end of the year?
They were playing better toward the end, but it also got to the point where they were, the schedule kind of eased up a little bit because they did win 4 of their last 5. So they were 1-4 of the last 5. You know, still playing pretty good offensively and picking it up defensively as well.
Okay. Mike Hesher with an in-depth look at tonight's game. All right, Larned is in action tonight. This is going to be fun to see. They've had a good year, and, of course, people are like, well, God, they went 8-12, and they're acting. No, from what they have been the last few years, and now the Larned girls get to host a game. They take on Russell tonight. Russell 7-13, Larned 8-12. You saw this team play a couple of times, once earlier in the year, Hesh, and then, later in the year. What do you think about the Larned girls?
I'm impressed with Larned. Obviously, I will throw in I am from Larned, but that's another thing. I just like the way they're playing. They got 3 young freshmen they're playing quite a bit. Akia Collins, the young lady who was in here with the team the other day, she's impressive. She's very athletic and probably was the most athletic person on the floor when they played Hoisington.
Okay, Jim Azunas joins us right now. And, Jim, you learned the Trading Post number, so that's cool.
Well, all right. I'll be ready to call in. There's your roll.
Okay, let's just get your thoughts tonight on the matchups on the girls' side anyway. Hoisington hosting Kingman, and then Larned hosting Russell in the 3A Hoisington substates. Anything on those two teams that stands out for you?
Well, yeah, I've seen Kingman play earlier against Nickerson girls, which are 5-15, and Nickerson took care of them. Kingman doesn't have a lot of height. They should be a pretty routine game for Hoisington. They got their offense cranked up. I like the way they're playing a fast pace. Eventual likely matchup perhaps in the finals against Haven. And, Hoisington boys will have a similar matchup against Haven on Thursday night. So, I like Hoisington's chances. I like the confidence they're playing with. I like the aggressiveness they're playing with. And Larned, heck, Coach Smith has done a terrific job with those girls. I think they've got a great shot to win their first-round game, too, and get to the semifinals. It'll be fun for both teams to be playing on the Hoisington court. That'll give them somewhat of an advantage over the non-league teams for sure.
Okay, boys action from last night. Hoisington boys give up 21 points. They got any shot at all? I mean, it's going to be tough against Lonnie Paramore and that Haven defense, but you never know. You're playing at home, go give it a shot.
Yeah, I think that's the one advantage you got. Down there at Haven, it would be a tough go, but at home, heck, you got a shot. Both teams play excellent defense, and really it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think a team that gets to 50 has got it. So it's just a question of can Hoisington crank out some points, because they'll play really good defense. But Haven has a big kid inside. Their guards are good. They move that ball around. So it's a tough matchup. But they played with them the first time, so I like Hoisington's chances certainly to compete. And it'd be a fun Saturday night if Hoisington boys and girls can get to Saturday night and have the full house up there at Hoisington.
Okay, Hoisington, or the Great Bend boys tonight at home against Bishop Carroll, who's just 7-13, but I'm sure the message has been, okay, it's Bishop Carroll, and they play in a very tough city league, so don't I guess, get caught off guard by that 7-13 record.
Oh, no question. I mean, I was looking through their scores this morning, and the one score that caught my eye was Junction City. They lost 55-51 in overtime. The exact same scenario that Great Bend faced, although Great Bend's was a higher score. So they played a similar team, played them to overtime and lost just like Great Bend did. But then they lost by 35 points to Heights just last weekend, and they lost by 14 to Capon, 16 to Northwest. So it's not a great Carroll team, but they showed on a given night they're certainly capable playing a team that Great Bend lost to by similar situations. So last time they went to state was 2011. So it's been 13 years since they went. And on the girls' side, it was 2014, and the girls have only made the state tournament twice in the last 23 years. So certainly it'd be a lot of fun for Great Bend boys to be playing at home Friday night, and the girls have a shot at Emporia. They can get by their first-round game against Salina Central, which they should. They saw Central over there at the tournament in Salina, and they got a gauge for their level of play, so they should be good there, too.
Okay, if the Panther boys can win, they would, in all likelihood, play Hutchinson for the second time this year at the Panther Fieldhouse. Salthawks 14-6. What about this Hutch team, Jim? What do you think?
Well, they got a big kid inside who matches up with Ian Premer, and they play a similar style. They play their best when they play fast. And Great Bend, for the most part, they handled that pressure fairly well. But Hutch's half-court defense is good, too. So the way Great Bend is playing, I think their confidence is right where it needs to be. The key is, Ian Premier doesn't score for 12 minutes Friday night, and they're up by 15 points. So if they can get any kind of thing close to that, they're going to be good to go. One of those little keys is if they shoot a little bit on the perimeter, because the Panthers are very selective about their three-point shots, but if they get 4 or 5 three-pointers down, again, they're good to go. So it should be a potential fascinating game because both teams like to play fast. They both play defense, switching defenses. Great Bend does a little bit more switching defenses than Hutchinson does, but it should be a fun, fast-paced game. And it's been a lot of fun at home for Great Bend boys this year. They've had a lot of exciting games, and the crowds have been great. Okay, 1A picks back up on Thursday, and the semifinals on the boys' side down at St. John don't have anything to do. You might want to go down and see those two games. La Crosse 17-2 taking on a decent Hodgman County team in the first game at 6, and then Central Plains against Maxville. Some good semifinals in the D1 St. John sub-state. La Crosse would be the favorite right now, but, boy, you can't count out Central Plains or Maxville or Hodgman County, for that matter. 4 pretty good teams going at it in St. John on Thursday night. Yeah, the state champion from last year, Maxville, is back, and they beat La Crosse in the first round of the state tournament. So there's 2 state tournament teams, one that got first and one that qualified. And Central Plains with Michael Ryan doing a terrific job. They just lost to them by double digits about a week ago, but they've got the scouting report now, and if Central Plains can win their game against Maxville, they'll certainly welcome a shot against La Crosse. So it ought to be fun. And on the girls' side, you got to mention Central Plains coach Pat Stiles. They had a 55-game postseason winning streak snapped last year. But Stiles is still 57-2 in postseason play. 11 Central Plains, Central Prairie titles, 9 state titles. I count 1 where they didn't finish, but I still count them as a title. 281-19. So, and they have a tremendous challenge because 2 of their top players are out. Eddie Ogle's out, and one of the other players, Melissa Donaker, has never played because of an injury too. So it's been a tough go. They've faced adversity, which when you have injuries and things that happen, boy, there's just, especially at a small class school, it's very tough to overcome that. So again, credit to Central Plains. I mean, they'll have a tough game against Spearville, which is 17-3, and but they played St. John tough. I mean, it was 45-38 in overtime last time. So if they could get to the weekend and get to the championship game, I would never count a Pat Stiles coach team. They'll definitely be in the ballgame. They just can't score a whole lot of points. About 40 points is about their limit right now. And St. John would be the favorite, but do you know anything about? I mean, what about Spearville? I mean, they've had a nice season. Yeah, I don't think the caliber competition in the SPIAA is quite what it is in the Central Prairie. At least traditionally, it hasn't. But Spearville's won a bunch of titles on the girls' side, so they have had some really good teams come out of that league. So, yeah, you're sort of comparing apples and oranges because the teams don't play similar teams. But, yeah, Spearville traditionally has had an excellent girls basketball program down there. Well, and, I don't know, don't sleep on Hodgman County either. I mean, they pretty much handled, decent Maxville girls team in the first round. So I think the girls semifinal games look pretty good. Jim, before we let you go, anything that stands out from a very, very busy sports weekend? Well, this is one of the funnest weeks of the year because, the girl bowlers from Great Bend will go for their back-to-back state titles. Friday will be quite a challenge because there's some really good teams and they qualified third, but they start all over, and we'll give it a go Friday afternoon in Wichita for the Great Bend bowlers, and then the 3 state champions in wrestling in Josiah Ball and Daisy Gomez, and then Learned Fisher. Congratulations to those state champion wrestlers. It's a fun time of the year. Jim, thanks for working with us on the schedule today. Hey, you're welcome. It's always fun to hear the voice of the Barton County Cougars and get Barton County ready to go for the national tournament in Hutchinson in a couple of weeks. That's going to be a blast. Jimbo, appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Monday, okay? Hey, you're welcome. Yes, sir. Okay, Jim Mizunis joining us here on Sports Day.
What do you guys? Is everything okay over there?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about who had the call when the Lady Oilers lost last year, and whose broadcaster could have been responsible for that.
Who was it?
Oh, it was me. It was me. I was the one who was on that 55-game win streak loss. You can blame Eagle Radio for signing me.
I'm sure that's on the mind of every.
Did get me Pat Styles though.
Hey, we'll talk to you tomorrow on Sports Day.